Thanks for doing this, man. Our podcast is on your journey in music and how you got to where you are now, and of course, starting Dreamshade and everything that went with it. So
Awesome. That's great.
So you talked about you're in Switzerland, obviously born and raised there.
Born and raised, yes.
What
in
part?
southern Switzerland. It's the Italian part of Switzerland, so it's just one region. It's called Ticino, and the city is called Lugano.
Okay.
And yeah, I was born here, and I lived here all my life.
You said it's the Italian side of Switzerland?
Yes.
Okay,
yes,
so
it's very close to the Italian border too.
Oh, interesting. So like nobody was really speaking Swiss, or like how does it kind of split up?
So
I'm just intrigued.
Yeah, it's a very small country, but there are so many differences from part to part. So
yeah, I didn't realize that. That's awesome.
Yeah, because we're just in the middle of Europe, so the borders are
you're a
between,
border state. Yeah, you have everything.
Right.
Kind of, you don't have water on one end.
Correct, exactly. Only mountains.
Right.
But a lot of land and trees and everything. But yeah, we speak 4 languages in our country, and where I live, we mainly speak Italian. So that's the regional language. Yes.
Can you speak for all 4 languages there?
Nah, not really. I mean, I don't. I prefer speaking English because it's just way easier to get by everywhere in every region, and everybody understands you pretty much.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, that always fascinates me that like English is kind of just the language across the, for everything,
pretty much.
That's kind of the bigger one.
I mean, of course, we don't really speak that well. I mean, I guess you can understand pretty well what I'm saying, but we don't really have a high type of education in English because we start really late at school and at least this was when I was in school. So I don't know what the guys are doing right now in school.
Right.
Yeah, but at the time,
like going on a Zoom call like this, and then like on TikTok on their phone or something. I don't think much learning has happened for a year plus, but
yeah, I bet
it is what it is. But it's funny that you say. Sorry to cut you off, but it's funny that you say that you don't speak English well. But I always find that people that have English as a second language, or like in situations like this, like you guys use words that like people that are speaking, just in English here, like in San Diego, like you guys choose words that are like sound a lot smarter than what we would use. You know what I mean? Like, well, maybe like that is an interesting way to say that. That's awesome. Like I wouldn't have thought of using that word, but like that's kind of where I always find that fascinating as well.
All right, I didn't know that. Yeah, I didn't know about that.
Maybe it's just me that notices things like that, but like I'll be like, oh, like that. That sounds like a lot, more sophisticated than what I would have said.
Well, that could be, but maybe we're just trying to translate from our languages, and then we end up saying those words that maybe are not so common in the US, or I don't know.
Yeah, or just in general, like
in the English language,
sure,
the spoken language at least.
Right. Yeah,
it could be. I don't really know about that, but yeah.
Well, right on. So you grew up in Switzerland, the Italian side of Switzerland. Tell me a little bit about that. Was there a big music scene where you grew up?
Not really. I wouldn't say so. I mean, there were a lot of bands back when I started playing, but I would say that my family was really into music all around. So mainly that's the reason I started making music, because my mom and my dad were really big fans of different type of music. So my dad is really into rock and roll and metal and everything. And my mom, she was really a huge fan of Italian, songwriters, and also reggae music. So all the Jamaican scene and everything. And then my sister, she's my older sister, and we had a lot of records in our home, and they were collecting mostly. And my sister is really big into hip hop and R&B. So I grew up in the middle of this, and I don't know. I decided to explore it mainly.
Okay. And what was the first instrument you learned to play?
I only play guitar, but then I started experimenting with other instruments, and I really fell in love with drums, because that was actually the very first instrument that I really wanted to play, but we didn't have the space when I was a
Right.
kid. So,
And it's
you know,
kid, it's all loud. It's expensive, right?
It's expensive. It's very loud. And most of the parents don't let you do that, especially in Switzerland. It's pretty quiet here.
Oh, is that right? Okay.
No, but then, so I learned writing the drums because that's my favorite instrument. So I just started experimenting with, you know, keyboards and bass and drums and mainly vocals right now. I work a lot on them, and it just happened.
Wow. Okay. And then what? So you guitar, and then what did you like start a band like in middle school, high school? When did you start playing with people?
So in middle school, I had, so the founder member with me of the band of Dreamshade, he's Rocco, he's another guitar player.
Okay.
He started playing way before me. And then when we were in middle school, he just asked the class who would be interested in take lessons with him. So nobody responded but me. And I just started like that. And then we stayed friends for a long time. We still are now very close. And we just put all of our energy into that and started like really learning to play a lot of different styles and a lot of different guitar techniques. And then we eventually started a band year after that.
In middle school?
No, we had another band. It was a punk rock band. He was already playing with that band, and then I joined because they needed a second guitar player. And I wasn't really good at that time because I only started 1 year prior to that. And then the band split after, you know, I think like, I don't know, 4 shows or something.
Sure.
And then
as middle school bands do.
Correct. And but it was insane because we already played shows in middle school, in other middle schools. So we were like,
wow,
it was crazy. Yes. And they were stars way before I was getting into the band and I joined them. And then we split because the other guitar player started listening to heavy metal, and then he fell in love with all these, you know, tricky guitar riffs, and
sure.
he wanted to study and perfect his style, you know.
What did you guys sound like? Like you weren't obviously a heavy band.
No, we weren't a heavy band, but it was a mix between punk rock and ska.
Oh, cool.
I would say. So it was pretty popular back then, and then most of the bands played that style, honestly.
Right.
But
right.
We sang both in English and Italian, if I don't remember wrong. But it was pretty good, I have to say.
Sure, sure.
To be the first band, it was fine.
That's cool. That's really cool. So did you like, okay, so that band ended, like you're still in middle school at this point?
Yes, I was, and he's a year older than me, so he started going to high school, and then we split and we stayed away from each other for 1 year, but we went to the same guitar teacher. So we started really studying very, very hard, a lot of hours every day to perfect ourselves in technique at least. And then I received a call 1 year after that, and it was him. And he just told me, okay, that same guitar teacher, he told me, you're the best in school. Let's do a heavy metal band.
We're starting another band.
Yeah, and then we started. We started after that.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
And that's when this band formed?
Yes.
In high school?
Yeah, in high school. I was 16 and he was 17.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. So you guys have been around for quite some time.
Yeah, so this is the 15th year.
Wow.
Yes. We were kids, dude. It's just started like when we were kids.
That's insane. So you guys start in high school. And how you start, like, get the ball rolling? Did you guys record? Are you playing just local shows at this point?
So we started playing shows in 2007. That was the first show that we ever played. It was a very different band at the time because we were just experimenting, but we were really looking forward to this internet thing that was coming up, you know, and
right.
It was the time that MySpace was really, really big. So we started like really putting our energy into that and developing our websites and web stores. And we were the first band that was around in this area, at least, that had, you know, a real MySpace going. So we were selling, I don't know, hundreds of CD copies on that, and we were selling worldwide.
Wow.
And it's crazy to think
on
back
that first
at that.
record.
It was the first EP. It was 2008, so it was barely 18, I guess, not even 18.
Wow.
And most of the band were underage because our singer and our keyboard player at the time, they were like 15 and 16. So we started playing shows in Europe. Our fifth show was in Slovenia, I guess. And most of us were underage.
Whoa. And was that To the Edge of Reality? Was that the record?
Yes.
Wow.
That's the first EP.
And you guys were that young. That's crazy. Yeah. That is so crazy. And then, like you said, you're playing outside of your country. Is that pretty easy to do when you're okay? I didn't know, because I know, like, in the States, like for me to drive, like I'm in like on the Mexican border, basically in San Diego. And if we went to like San Francisco, that would be like, 8 hours, 7-8 hour drive.
Yeah, that's.
So I know, long. Like it's pretty, like stuff is a lot closer there, right? I mean, you could get to another state or another country pretty easily, but it's not as easy to break into those scenes there. Okay.
And it's, Europe is a very complicated place as I see it, because it's so great that in such a small space that you have so many different cultures and languages and currencies and borders and everything. And back in the day, for us at least, in the southern part of Switzerland, we had nobody to draw inspiration from, because there were no bands that actually toured or played outside, or maybe someone did it, but it wasn't like a real touring band or releasing records worldwide. So that was pretty hard for us to figure out in the first place, like, how do we do this? How do we get to people that are not our relatives, and our friends?
Right. Sure. How do I get outside of our little bubble of people?
Yeah. That was crazy, dude, because the internet gave us that chance. I mean, I gotta say that, because we live in a very small town, and it's a minority, honestly. The Italian part of Switzerland is a minority in Switzerland, because we are only like 400,000 people here in this area that speak Italian.
Wow.
And then after us up north, there is the Alps.
Right. Sure.
So it's just very hard. In fact, it took a lot of time for us to get some recognition in Switzerland, and we were touring before that. We were touring other countries way before that, and it was just thanks to the internet, because people were getting to know us through the music and through the releases. And then in 2011 we signed a deal with Spinefarm Universal.
Wow.
And then the thing just got out of hand and exploded. And we started.
Tell me about that. How did you guys meet? How did Spinefarm find you? Like, at that point, were you were doing some tours of Europe at that point? Wow.
We were just playing, weekender shows, like 2 or 3 in a row. Not real like back to back
dates. Yeah. Okay.
That wasn't possible for us, because we weren't known that much,
and you were young,
and we were really young. So we just had this very tight knit community of people that really liked that specific genre. And at the time it was melodic death metal. That eventually changed during the years, and it became way more modern and everything. But at the very start it was that. And people who listened to that genre were really passionate. They were buying really like obscure underground bands from all over the world. So we started reaching out to these bands eventually, and created this small internet community. Network on MySpace. And then Spinefarm, we put all of our money on our first real production. So it was What Silent Sides, the first record. It was recorded in 2010. And then we tried to shop it around to labels, because we didn't know how it's done. We didn't know how the market worked at the time.
Right.
And nobody was there to teach us. So
yeah, exactly.
So we just tried. And they eventually, we had a contact. We had a management in Germany. It was Continental Concerts, which is a pretty big management.
How did you guys get that manager, if you don't mind me asking?
It was a connection because an Australian fan of us on MySpace had this guy who used to work with them.
Mm-hmm.
And he heard the stuff on MySpace. He heard the demo.
Whoa.
Yes.
That's crazy.
It's crazy. Then he sent it to the Continental guys. They loved it, and they tried to shop a record in these music fairs. They were really big in Europe back in the day. I don't know if they are still, but
is that just like a convention of people that?
It's a convention. Yeah, it's like NAMM. Yeah.
Oh, it's like NAMM. Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
There are a lot of smaller versions of that in Europe, and
cool.
So they find themselves with our record in Finland, and they try to shop it to the guys at Spinefarm Universal. So and they loved the record, and then after a couple months, we met in Dortmund, and we signed the deal.
Wow, must have been a huge moment for you guys.
Yeah, dude, it's crazy. I mean, if I think back, it's been 10 years now. Because yesterday it was the 10th year of that record.
Wow! So, congratulations, that's awesome.
Thanks, man. And it's
10 years.
Yeah. So I had a moment yesterday, I have to say, because thinking back at that very day, I felt like, oh my God, this is really happening. I mean, it's real.
Right.
It's no more like we're not doing it for the sake of it, just for fun and everything. Now we are releasing worldwide records, and that kept going eventually. Then we changed labels and everything. But
when you signed that first deal with Spinefarm, what did they do for you? Because you already had that full length record done, right?
Yeah.
So they put you on the road, or like what happened next?
So actually we signed a deal for 2 records, and it was that one and the next.
The Gift of Life.
The Gift of Life, where we changed the singer. And so that first record had some good sales, I have to say. And the major area was Japan, because it was released by Universal Japan. So it was a pretty big deal for us because it was a major label.
Yeah, that's massive.
And we were just like, young kids playing metal.
How old were you guys at that point? Like 18, 19?
I was 20.
Okay. But still young, man.
Yeah. The singer was 18. He was barely 18. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Did they send you to Japan? Like,
we ended up in Japan years after that with later releases. Yes.
So they didn't send you right away because they weren't like, things are going in Japan, let's get you there. It wasn't like that.
I think back in the day, everything was moving way slower. Like record labels first had to see that the project was really working, and the money that they spent
they can make it
back. Worth it. Yeah, they could make it back. I mean, I guess that was the reason, but for us it really started very, very slowly, and we started touring with the next record, like real tours.
Okay.
That's
that
actually
was with the Gift of Life.
The Gift of Life. That was actually the record that had us internationally known for what we do, or at least in this type of music,
And so what happened there? Like, how did the Gift of Life really blow up?
Changing the singer and really not caring about what type of metal we were doing. So we really felt like we could do any genre at that moment, because we just had this new guy that was capable of singing so many styles. And it just blew my mind, because we were in the studio, and all I wanted to do at that point was staying in the studio and just try to get the best songs in that type of music that you can. And if you're gonna shock some fans because it's not pure old school type of metal, I don't care. I just wanna wanna move on, dude. And that actually works.
Pushing forward, right?
Yeah. That's the moment where I really felt like I mean, the whole band really felt like, okay, we have something very weird here.
Right,
but
right.
but we're loving it, so let's do it.
Right, right. Well, with that, I mean, I don't know if you even want to go down this road, but I'm just curious at this point. So you
Yeah.
signed the deal with Spinefarm, and
Yeah.
they put out 2 records, and then you lose a singer. Or did you like? How did that? You know, I mean, the voice of the band, it kind of changes, right? And then you're going to the next record. Like, were they weirded out by that, or like, how did you guys deal with that?
Yes, that's an interesting one, because actually the new singer happened to be joining the band for The Gift of Life. So the first record on Spinefarm was Eco, the previous singer. Mm-hmm. And then we parted ways with him because we wanted to, you know, experiment some new genre and everything. Mm-hmm. And then Kevin joined the band, and then we did The Gift of Life. So the new singer was already in that record, yes.
Okay, so Kevin joined. So was that a weird like transition though? I mean, like, we want to go a different direction. I know that we signed a deal and all this stuff. That must have been like a pretty difficult conversation to have.
It was a pretty weird time, because we were just getting the attention of a bigger audience with the previous record, and it was really way more quote unquote metal oriented, and then the next record was more experimental and more rock oriented, maybe somehow. Sure. And the label was like, okay, now when we sent them the demo of the new record, or some songs of the new record, they were like, okay, now you got a real singer. That's crazy. But how do we market this? I mean, how do we tell your fans that you just gained that you're gonna change?
Right. That's what I was curious.
And then I don't really remember how it went down with the record label, but eventually when the music dropped, it worked, just right? spoke for itself.
Right. I mean, they weren't upset to release a song like Photographs that has over 2 million plays on Spotify.
Sure. it's crazy. But that's also because, you know, it's just make us grow as musicians and as a band, and also audience wise, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Sure. Well, like, and how did that work for your fans and everything? Like, obviously they embraced it, right? I mean, to have a song streaming that hard, like, was that like when you guys like did your first show with Kevin, was that like, oh, like, who's this dude? Like, was that weird? Like,
it was really weird, because our first show with him was even before releasing The Gift of Life, so people didn't really know, and it was in our hometown.
Okay, so it wasn't like that jarring when you put the record out.
We had that very small moment before The Gift of Life, and transitioning from What Silent Sides, changing the singer and playing shows. We played like 2 or 3 shows in Germany and Switzerland, and having, you know, your fans that see this new guy, they don't know nothing about that.
Right. About him. Like, who's this dude?
Like, he's trying to sing the older stuff, and then we don't know him. What's happening?
Right.
And then and after a few months, the new record dropped, and everything made sense at that point. Okay. But that transition was really hard for us. Like, we really didn't know how to manage it and how to market it, and like how to communicate with our fans that were like, it was a shitstorm, dude. It was crazy.
Oh my. Well, with the success of that record, did you, I mean, obviously millions of streams on Photograph, huge. Like, did that open up the doors to tour, to do big tours? And like, what was the next like stepping stone when that album came out?
So when that record came out, we didn't know how to handle the fans at one point, because it was the first time for us with seeing, you know, some real recognition. But at the same time, we felt like the record label and our older management they were on the same page as us. So it happened that we split after, I don't know, like 3 or 4 months, and we had to find quickly a new management and a new record label for the next record, but still promote that record. So we decided to just go on the road on our own and just let the fans, you know, support the project. For that year, at least until 2014, we did just that. We knew we had a record that was out. It was great for the fans. It was going because it was selling. Maybe it wasn't as much as the label wanted for what they spent. That could be, but I don't really know. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't really know. But we started going on the road and we started touring. And the first big tour we did, it was like, I don't know, a month long in Eastern Europe, like starting from Poland and then the whole of Russia, and it was big distances.
Yeah.
But the shows, dude, were crazy.
Really?
Honestly.
That's cool. And it was all
I have some really good memories.
That's cool. Like, were you guys headlining? Or were you supporting bands? Wow.
Yeah, we were just headlining because we had no contacts in the business. We had no network with people that work in the business. So, and you know, coming from an unknown place, it was very hard, very hard to get there. So most of the work was done by our fans, connecting us to people that knew about us, or maybe that didn't know about us, but eventually believed in the project and just started buying dates. And it worked for that period. It was crazy. It was the first time that we actually felt like, okay, we're now a touring band. We don't know how this is happening, but it's all thanks to the audience.
Sure. And then did you guys just go hard for like a couple of years? I mean, your next record, Vibrant, didn't come out until 3 years after.
Yes, correct.
So
we toured all the time. And we did even, single shows, festivals, and tours mostly. And we also came to California with the record, I guess. It was
really?
13.
Yeah. LA or something?
We played LA. We played somewhere in the Bay Area. I think it was Oakland.
That makes sense.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
And we stayed there to shoot some videos and connecting with some of the people in the business also.
Oh, cool.
So yeah, it was great, dude. We have really, really good memories about the Gift of Life period and the touring cycle and everything.
Sure.
It was crazy.
Yeah, I mean, that's massive. You get to the States, you get to do like huge tours, tour Russia. I mean, like these things, like that sounds amazing.
Yeah, we also did South Africa, and then 2015 we did a big tour in Asia, and we were sharing some of the shows with Kill Switch Engage and The Word Alive.
Wow. Yeah. That's amazing. Crazy. Those shows were probably huge then too.
Yes,
right?
yes, yeah. Dude, China is crazy. I mean, I love that place. It's like
really,
yeah.
The shows there were dope. Oh my gosh, that's right. Like,
yeah, the industry there is really, really growing, and also mostly with hip hop and rap and all that vibe, but also rock and metal were really big. Yeah.
Was it hard to get into that country and like book tours there or book shows there, or not really?
We are lucky because we are partnering with a very nice with some very nice promoters and agencies there that helped us build our audience from year to year. So we kept going in Asia because we feel like
it was working.
Yeah, right? It was working really well. We love the fans and we love working with these guys because they really believe in the project. So that makes a huge difference when you do tours and shows in general, and also records.
Sure.
But it took a lot of time to build. That's for sure.
Well, with that, like, so you're doing these tours, you're spending a lot of the time on the road, promoting, playing. When do you have time to write the next record? Do you guys take some downtime after that and then go in the studio and then record Vibrant? So
every record that we did after that, it was always, a consequence of coming back home from a tour. So we did that tour with, we released the first, unsigned single. It was Dreamers Don't Sleep. It was off of Vibrant, but the record wasn't written yet. So we released that because we felt, we released that because we felt it was the right moment to do that. And then we toured on the back of that, and we toured all of Europe, all of Switzerland, and that big tour in Asia with Kill Switch Engage. Then we came back so inspired, and we finished the record, and then we started, producing it and recording it and mixing it, and eventually signed a new deal with Artery Recordings. in the States.
Wow.
Yeah, because they were in Sacramento back then. And then we released the record at the end of 2016.
And then the same like formula, put the record out, and then you just tour again right off the bat to support the album.
Yeah. We did a Vibrant tour. It was the first time that we touched so many countries, like, I don't know, the UK and I don't know, France maybe. But it was great. We did a European tour first, and then we went back to Asia another time. Yes, and that whole happened in 2017. So it was released in December 2016, and then in March we were touring. The tour started.
Okay, and then so from there, tour. Tell me where you were and where you guys were at when COVID hit originally, like, a year ago now.
So that's interesting. So in 2019, in January, we released a track of the new album, because we still the same formula. We didn't have the record. We had this song ready and mixed. We shot a really funny video, and we really wanted it to be released as soon as possible, because we felt like it was the right moment for us, and it was just the right spot in our lives, I guess.
Sure.
We released that, and we started the tour off on the back of that one day after that. And
on the back of that single, what single is that? Questioning Everything?
Yeah, Question Everything. Yeah. Yes, we started a tour in Europe with Don Broco and Emma Rosa.
Wow.
Yeah, and that was crazy. Like, one of the best tours that we've ever done. At least in Europe, it was a really nice time.
Yeah, I mean, Emma Rosa is massive. That's crazy. Yes,
and Don Broco in Europe are really, really big.
Huge.
Dude.
Okay.
Yeah, you should check them out because they're crazy.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with them. That's cool.
Yeah,
I will definitely check them
really, really cool band. One of my favorite bands. And then I started this tour with Dreamshade. Then in February we went to South Africa again for the second time.
That's cool.
And then in March I joined Darkest Hour. Is an American band.
Oh, I know Darkest Hour. You're in that band?
I fill in on the European tours. Yeah, I fill in as a guitar player.
That's so dope, man. So I love that band.
So I did January with Dreamshade, February with Dreamshade in South Africa, then March with Darkest Hour. It was a long tour. Back in April, we started the festival season with Dreamshade, and then went in Asia for a very long tour at the end of August until October.
Oh, wow.
So then we started writing some of the songs of the new record, because we felt super inspired. Like, it was a very heavy touring cycle, but really inspiring. And we started writing all of the songs for the new record. And then COVID happened in March. 2020. So I was touring with Darkest Hour in Europe again.
When everything shut down?
When everything started happening, and you heard the first news. So it was January and February 2020. And that's where I came home, and we started the recording process of the record, and COVID started.
Oh, wow.
So that was crazy, dude.
So you guys, you were on the road, and then you were able to finish the tour Darkest Hour, or did the tour get okay?
It was the 25th anniversary tour.
Oh man, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's crazy.
But like, from there, when did the tour end? I'm just curious where COVID hit in between. So there.
When I started the tour with Darkest Hour, it was January, and you already heard some of the news from China.
Okay. You know? Yeah, it started. Yeah.
Yeah. So
in January, January. Yeah.
Yeah, and the tour actually ended in Germany during mid-February.
Okay.
2020. So I went back home, and being in the airport in Frankfurt that day, I remember all of these screens, showing this really weird and bad news about COVID-19, and everyone was wearing a mask already in Germany. I was just dropping out of the tour bus, and I was like, "What's this?"
Oh wow! So they were early they adopted that early on.
Yeah,
Huh?
because Italy and Germany were the real,
Italy was
first
gnarly.
European.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
and I had to land in Italy because that's the closest airport to where I live.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to land in Milan, Italy. So everybody was already talking about that, and I was like freaking out on the way back home, and it was a really weird time.
Did you
And then
guys
everything started.
notice? Did you guys notice? Probably not yet. I mean, on that Darkest Hour tour, that the shows were getting smaller as like it progressed because of COVID, or not really because it hadn't really shut down everything yet.
I felt like nothing really changed because it was just before everybody took this seriously.
Right. Okay.
So everybody was talking about this news, but
it wasn't
nobody was like really scared until
of it, right.
that very day at the airport, and I was like, okay, maybe this is serious. Wow. And then I went back home, and after, I don't know, a couple of weeks, everything shut down.
Oh my gosh. So so where does that leave you with the record then? At that point, did you have it completed, or how did the album carry? Because you have a record coming out in a couple months, right?
Yeah, it was like we had most of the songs ready, like at the demo stage, but we still had to record everything and mix everything. So we knew that we would have to be in Denmark to mix the record, but eventually that never happened because we had to stay home because all of the airports were shut down. All of the flights were canceled. So we need to reschedule everything for the record and also for the release. And we ended up mixing the record in April last year on Skype.
Oh, wow. So you're mixing it on the record last year? And so when did you guys record it? Was it pre-COVID?
During the COVID.
Oh, during COVID. Okay.
Yeah.
How did you guys record it? Just very
separately.
Safely? Okay.
Yeah.
Separately. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That must have been weird.
It was the first time that we ever did that, but honestly, it's like, it went great. I gotta say this because we took the right amount of time to take care of everything and all of the details, and we were maximum 2 people at a time. So Luca, the other guitar player, was coming here at my home studio, and we were recording the guitars together. And then I went to our rehearsal space to do the vocals with Kevin. And John, our bass player, he was recording synths and samples and bass at his home studio. And then we just were exchanging, tracks on Google Drive and checking that everything worked together. But it was, like being blindfolded somehow.
Sure. And then you have to like surgically put everything together. That must have been pretty what a
was weird.
I was gonna say, would you, like, aside from it being that weird, do you feel like it changed the sound of the record at all, or did it take a different life of its own that you guys weren't expecting it to do because of that, or no?
I think it was very natural anyway, because we were exchanging all of these tracks so often with each other that we had a really precise image of everything that everybody else was doing, because we were doing it live. So I could see, we were sharing all of the lyrics, so me and Kevin could work on it on Google Drive together, and seeing the very moment that a person is writing those lyrics. That was an experience, because it never really happened. Usually we just meet, at a point where we have something that consistent and we share ideas. But at that time we were doing it live, and it was very inspiring and very fast, I have to say.
You think it was more efficient than
somehow
normal recording?
I think it's weirder, of course, but I feel like it worked very well. It could have been way worse.
Sure. That's well, with that, I mean, you guys finished the record and you have to hold on to it, right? Because you don't want to put it out, and then
because nobody knew when this was ending, or had no idea of how it's going,
Sure. Well, with that, like, have you, after their album's done and everyone's still stuck inside, like, do you guys, you know, aside from watching streaming or, you know, playing video games or something, like, do you start writing a new record? Like, where are you guys at as far as writing? Did you continue writing songs?
I just kept going and just kept writing, and I'm still doing it now. And I have tons of material for the next record. Again.
That's what I'm wondering. So you probably have a whole
crazy.
bank of songs, right?
Yeah, it's crazy. I have like 1,000 song parts that are, you know, scattered, and I have to figure out how to put them together. But that's gonna be a challenge. But I feel like that record really inspired us to just keep creating and take advantage of this weird year that is 2020, and it's maybe going to be 2021. And at one point we just felt like, okay, we can hold on releasing this record, but we cannot do it that much because it has to represent, you know, this very moment in time.
Sure. That's what I was wondering too.
And it really does.
Is it going to be dated, so to speak, you know?
Correct. So we just decided on a date and prepared everything for that. With all of the challenges of COVID, because, you know, also we just shot a music video for a song, and it was a real challenge. You know, you cannot be more than a certain number of people in the same place.
Yeah.
And it was right before this third kind of lockdown. So we just managed to do it on time.
Wow.
It was crazy.
Yeah.
Weird.
That must have been, a super difficult process. And tell me, like, so the first song that you guys have put out from the record, is it Shanghai Nights?
It's Lightbringers.
Oh, Lightbringers. Okay.
Yeah.
And then Shanghai Nights was the most recent single.
Yes, it's 2 weeks old.
Yeah, it just came out, right? I mean,
yeah.
And it's doing well. It has over 100,000 plays on Spotify.
Yeah, it's doing well. I'm surprised really because we felt like, okay, this can be liked by our fans, but we didn't expect the recognition of you know, people outside of our audience, and that's what we're getting, and I'm really impressed. I have to say.
That's exciting. What are you most excited about aside from getting the album out coming in May?
So we just shot this very weird music video, and I really can't wait to release it because it's a movie, dude. It's
really
crazy.
That's cool. That's cool.
I'm really excited. Yeah, we had a lot of fun. It was a 2-day shooting, but really stressful, and very, you know, late nights and a lot of hours on the set. Early mornings. But I think it's going to be really fun.
That's awesome. Oh, I just knocked my camera. Sorry. That's cool. That's cool. Like, aside from the videos, I know it's a weird time. How are you promoting the record aside from interviews and doing that? Have you done live streaming events? Like, tell me about that.
We still didn't do the live stream events, but we're definitely looking into that. We're doing a lot of interviews, like, as you said. We're getting a lot of reviews from magazines and websites. That's cool. And we're preparing some of the surprises that I can't really tell right now.
Sure.
They're gonna happen very soon. So also we just produced this very limited double vinyl, and it's colored, and it's
sick.
Yeah, it weighs a lot. It's here, and I think it's really great. Like, it looks crazy. I mean, this cover art makes me dream, dude. We've been working a really, really long time.
Yeah. So that's gonna be that's the record you can pre-save now.
Yes, it's limited.
Okay, that's so sick. That's really cool. I can't wait to hear the record. I love the vinyl. I'm gonna get myself one. As you can see, I have my record player here. But
I was actually looking at that. It's crazy.
That's cool, man. Well, I can't wait to see what you guys have in store, and I can't wait to check out this video. And
I'm gonna send it to you.
Oh, rad. Yeah, I'd love to see it. And I appreciate you doing this interview with me, man. Thank you so much.
I loved it, dude. And also great job on the interview with Jeff Blue. I just watched it today, and it's crazy.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, he was really cool, and he's you know, the guy when it came to Linkin Park. And
yeah, dude, I'm a really big fan of Linkin Park and also of Jeff Blue, of course. And I was really impressed, and it's crazy. Loved it.
I love that. Thank you. I really appreciate that. I have one more question for you before I let you go. I want to know if you have any advice for aspiring artists.
I think the best thing that you can do is just find people who really enjoy what they're doing and who really believe that they're going somewhere with this, and just do the music that you think is fucking great. And you can always, you know, listen to suggestions and opinions here and there, and it's always fun to have them, but just believe in what you do. I think it's the greatest thing that you can do for yourself. Bring it backward.